Happy spooky season. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brazilian Dragon podcast for Brazilian Dragontober. My name is Felipe, and for this podcast, I'm dressed up, of course, as the Brazilian Dragon. And I am not alone. I am joined by one of the premier Muppet fans in the Twitter streets. It is Mel Got Served, making her triumphant return. How are you doing, Mel?
Greetings, foolish mortal.
Yes, I'm so excited
I'm
to talk about Muppets with
good.
you.
Oh my gosh. When you asked if I wanted to watch and talk about Muppets Haunted Mansion, I was like, yes, because this was truly my favorite Muppets thing they've done in like ages. I think that it is truly nearly perfect.
I love that. I love that. I mean, look at your background. You have the Muppets on your wall.
It's
Uh,
true.
you have brought out even more Muppets than the last podcast. Who do you got on the couch?
So I've Gonzo on the couch. I've one of my Gonzos. I actually do own two stuffed Gonzos as gifts I've received. I am like such a Gonzo fan. So to top off that, like, oh, we're gonna make a Muppets Haunted Mansion. Great. Oh, it's actually all about Gonzo. To me, is like there couldn't have been a more perfect movie made
I,
for me.
I love this. So, what is your history with the Muppets?
I've been a Muppets fan since my whole life. So when my parents always talk about the fact that like when you're a kid, you have the like one thing you watch over and over and over. And as we know, I'm old, so we would have a VHS tape to do this.
Hey,
Mine
I had a
was
VHS tape too. Don't
yeah.
knock yourself.
Okay, good. Mine was Muppets Take Manhattan that I would watch over and over and over. It's one of our things that we quote all the time. So I was always like that Muppet trilogy of movies, Muppet movie, Muppet Caper, Muppets Take Manhattan were like on repeat, but especially Take Manhattan. Watch Muppet Babies, of course, like all of the above. I love the Muppets. They are so funny. And I have to say, I'm not even the biggest Muppet fans in my life. Shout outs to my friend Jimmy if he listens. Because Jimmy is the biggest Muppets fan ever. And that's why, we're friends. Because I'm
For me, mine was Winnie the Pooh, specifically Winnie the Pooh, The Great Adventures, or The Search for Christopher Robin, Pooh's Grand Adventure. That's what it was called. That was the one that was on loop.
ooh, yes.
Yes, so that was the one that like was my like had that on repeat, like spam the rewind button, attack it, destroy that tape.
I wish
This,
I still had all like my Muppets Happy Meal toys and stuff
oh
like
my
that too. Where
god, yes.
we went to, and this is one that I know we did, but I have no memory of this because I was too young. But we also went to one of those like Muppet live show kind of things,
Ooh,
and I
yes.
remember there's like there were like pennants that you had and stuff. So I definitely had like a Muppet pennant and stuff. I used to have so much stuff. It's actually a bummer because there was so much good merch back in the day, and then I don't have any of it.
Yeah,
So
it's
sad.
tragic. But we love that you're a Muppets girly. Also, I mean, we love theme parks. How are you feeling about the Muppet Vision 3D rumors these days? That it's on the brink potentially.
I'm very nervous. And I will say one thing, which is I've been known to be a mild hater of just one aspect, which is I hate Waldo. I think he's just so awful. It didn't age well. I love all the rest of it. I love I love everything about it. I don't want it to go away. I hate Waldo. Um, but I don't want it to go. I think it's really important. It's also right now the only theme park representation the Muppets have. I don't want it to go away. I love that fountain. It's so relaxing there. And also, Pizza Rizzo provided me solace in a time that I didn't know I needed, which is I had a really bad bout of motion sickness that I triggered by going on Tower Terra and
Rock and
Rock
roller
and Roller
coaster.
Coaster back to back. Really cute. That was at 8 o'clock in the morning. A choice really ruined my day. I found sanctuary in the upstairs balcony of Pizza Rizzo, and I slept in a booth there, and it brought me healing.
Did you
And then
order
I
anything?
went. I saw it was so nice because nobody's like up there. It was air conditioned, comfy bench. I did actually try a little bit of the pizza, and it was not bad. It actually was kind of good. But then I went on a ride again and triggered it right away. So it was a very helpful place. So keep Pizza Rizzo, keep Muppets Vision 3D, get rid of Rock and Roller Coaster or put it in that area that's over by Rock and Roller Coaster. Like, what is there? Put it somewhere, but
What
don't
are
talk
we
about
trying to
Muppets.
replace it with again? What was the
Monsters Inc. And that's what's
yes?
hard is because if you had to say, hey, what's something else you really love? I love Monsters Inc.
I love
Obviously, I'm a
Monsters Inc.
Sully. So,
Yeah,
of course I'm going to want to see that, but
I
I
feel like
don't
there's
want to lose it.
space to put the Monsters Inc. elsewhere in the
I
Hollywood
agree.
studios. I feel like they what
What
happened with
is
the old backlot?
what's, yeah, because I don't know the maps like the back of my head. I know like Star Wars is somewhere in the upper back. I don't know where it is, but like get rid of it. Like, is Indiana Jones still the draw it once was? I mean, you're gonna have him at Animal Kingdom now, so I don't think that the stunt show matters as much as it used to. I think that would be a good spot. There is by Rock and Roller Coaster, there is that like back area. I don't even know what's over there. I think it just is like probably parking lot or cast member area. I think there's a lot of spots without getting rid of it. What about all that animation courtyard stuff that's just like
Yeah.
shows? I used to love that animation area where you got to see the animators, but I don't think
Well,
it's
they
in
have
there.
like a drawing class at best these
Yeah, I
days.
bet.
I feel
Oh,
like.
and you know what? That's where you can go get pictures taken with Star Wars characters. Go to Galaxy's Edge,
Well, they
build them
don't have the
another
Mushu
area.
show anymore, right?
No, I don't think so. No, because I would
That.
have seen if that were a thing, I would have gone to it. No, last time I did go and I got to meet BB-8, which was very
Oh my god.
delightful. But it
BB-8's
was a
the
very long
best.
experience.
Like I can't pick which droid I like more, R2D2 or BB-8, because they're both great.
I know. I
Like
regret I did the droid exchange where you build the droid, and I did make a BB model, but I kind of regret it to an extent. I love my son. His name is
yes.
like it actually the number I BB69, aka Two Boy, which means my son.
Yeah.
Because that's what I call anything that I buy that is a very large
I mean, Baby Yoda's
token.
my son. Like I
Yeah, I've
know.
got my son. I've got my
Yeah.
popcorn bucket alien son. I got my two boys on, but I do regret not getting
Are the
the
baby like the
R2D2.
aliens from Toy Story or like Alien Romulus that we were talking about?
Oh,
No,
sorry. Aliens from Toy Story. I would also buy
those are my children
if
too.
they had a xenomorph at Disney still, because remember it used to be in the Great Movie Ride. I would buy the shit out of that. I oddly think the xenomorph is kind of cute. Like I think there's something endearing about
Do
it.
you
I don't
listen
know.
to Newcomers with Nicole Byer and Lauren Lapkus?
I used to. Haven't
Okay,
listened in a
do you remember
while.
the episode where they were talking about Star Wars and Nicole Byer and Lauren Lapkus were both like, "Oh, we would hook up with the Camino aliens. They're both cute." I'm like, huh?
I don't
Okay.
think I would hook up with a xenomorph, because that's horrifying. I just watch all the other ones.
You
I
just
don't
think
need
they're
that.
adorable.
Yeah, I just think that as an entity, I don't want it intruding into my body whatsoever, but I don't mind seeing it around. I don't want it just disgusting. No.
Yeah, but I think there's a way we can protect Muppet Vision. Like I get
Agreed.
it that you're trying to like get all this new IP like Encanto and like Monsters Inc. Which hey, the Monsters Inc. ride should have been installed 20 years ago. Where were you
20
then?
it's too where are we? It's very late. I feel like one thing that they could do, but we don't know. I guess because you don't know what the success of stuff is like shouldn't you be planning ahead to be like, hey, here's our like 10-year movie forecast, and why don't we like build a ride that goes along with this movie and just have it at the same time?
Yeah.
But I guess like it's kind of like you might get. I
What
haven't
if it's
seen it
Strange
still.
World?
Yeah, like what if it's Wish? I haven't seen it. I've heard mixed
It's
on it, so I
fine.
don't know. Yeah, like
It's
that's what I
literally
hear.
fine.
That's the thing is it's but this Muppet, not Muppet Ride, where Muppet Vision is so like it's in the middle of stuff. It's not like it's
They
just like
better
on
keep
the
that fountain.
outskirts.
That fountain is iconic.
It's amazing.
Or
But that's why I'm
yeah.
like, this is a really big ride that they're thinking of building for Monster Inc. It's supposed to be a roller coaster, so you need a lot of space. And Muppet Vision 3D is not a lot of
Well,
space.
because they're
And
not
even if you
doing.
knock out
They already
other
have the
stuff,
laugh floor that they already have. They're not. They're that's the only Monsters Inc. thing they're doing, right? The roller coaster doors.
yeah, I think unless they're doing like a whole land out of it, because I would assume you're gonna at least do a little bit more,
Well, then they
right?
should just do like a full-on Pixar park.
It kind of is. I mean, I guess because they have that. Oh, they have Pixar. This is where I need
They
to
have
do. I need
Pixar
the straights because they
Place,
have Pixar Place and they have like that street that leads to
and
Toy
then
Story Land and
where are
their
they getting rid
whole
of the
theme of
lagoon? Is
no.
that Disneyland or is that Disney World that they're draining the
World.
lagoon?
World, they're gonna get rid of the in Magic Kingdom. I believe they're supposed to drain where the Mark Twain riverboat is in Tom Sawyer Island. Get rid of that. Put cars in. I've not, to my knowledge, at least like as a cognizant adult human, been to Tom Sawyer Island. I guess maybe I should try to go before it's gone. I don't really care. I
We
also
should
don't like
coordinate a
cars
trip.
that
You,
much.
me,
Oh my
Ligori.
gosh. Yes.
Like, let's just go.
We need to. I have been debating. I said like this year, I was like, no theme parks this year. I've been going all the time. But like now the possibilities come up. I'm like, ugh. But then if I go, it's like, what one park? If I only have a day, what one do I go to? That's a very tough decision.
Hmm.
And even then, if I'm like, okay, then I'll do 2 days and I'll go to two. Which two? Because there's
I
three that
mean,
have my
you could.
heart.
My
I do want to
move
say
would
bye to
be
dinosaur, but it's not really.
how long? How long do we have? Because
Um,
I want to do Primeval World one more time.
oh God, I can't do that ride.
Well,
This
I'll
this
go and then we can do
we can go.
dinosaur
Yeah, we can go to the
and
land
go.
itself. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to say
the
goodbye to that
Primeval
world.
World is one of the physically most painful experience of my life, besides the Matterhorn.
Oh, the Matterhorn for me is painful because I'm too tall for that ride.
It
Like,
is so janky, and that's also the way the Space Mountain feels in Florida, which I
yeah.
hate. I always go on Space Mountain for like the completest of it all, but I hate
Mhm.
every time I go on. I hate it. I love it in California though. I love Disneyland. It's so smooth, but
Yeah.
out here in Florida, awful.
Um, ugh, we just need more Muppets. Like, if they do get rid of Muppet Vision, I would hope Sesame Palace would, Sesame Park, or to
I
pick it
would,
up.
yes, please. That's, you know what, the hardest thing is how they built. I know there's like one in Hershey Park, and then
There's
there's
like
like a
one in
Sesame one
Pennsylvania, I
in,
think. Yeah.
yeah, and that's one I think I'd prefer to go to because the other one's at SeaWorld, which is still, you know,
Mhm.
I think if see it, I've had this theory that SeaWorld is slowly working to evolve that eventually would just be like a water themed amusement park with no animals.
I would like
But I,
that. Yeah, because I love an aquarium. I saw
it's the shows that are bad. Like
Let the
yeah,
animals
we don't need
live.
to get all of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I wish that it wasn't at SeaWorld because I would immediately go in a heartbeat to see that Sesame Street that when they shared photos of like how authentic it is,
Yeah.
I
My friend
I,
was
I would have
Bert.
cried.
My friend Darius. We need to get him on the podcast, like in some capacity. We've been talking about it for over a year. But go check out Darius Marquise Johnson, everyone. He's one of the voices in the Monster High show on Nickelodeon.
No
Um,
way.
so he's Barkamedes in that show. But he used to be Bert.
That is iconic.
Yeah.
I'm also clearly like when I say Muppets too, it obviously broadens itself into I love any like all the
Puppets.
Jim Henson kind of stuff. I love puppets. I love the Muppets in the broader space of Sesame. I was a real big Elmo person at the height of
I still
Elmo mania. I
am.
still am. Like, who am I
Like,
kidding?
fuck Rocco.
Oh my God, Rocco, what a piece of trash.
um,
Um,
I
I love all of I giving I have a baby nephew and giving him actually I haven't really given him any Sesame Street stuff, but watching his joy of like Sesame Street and things like that. Oh, I love it. It's so nice to see that they endure and I want to give a shout out. And we talked about this last time, but their social media has been on point for the Olympics and they're doing some for Paralympics
I
and just
love
in
that.
general, they're just very smart with their evolution of the brand and I think it's perfect. And whenever if I find people who like whose kids don't watch, I'm just like, why are they not watching it though? Because
Yeah.
I know it's a little harder to watch than it used to be. Because now it's on Max first and then PBS, but the internet exists at this point. Like it's streaming somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, there's like a
Just go on
6-hour
YouTube.
YouTube compilation.
Right.
For sure. Yeah. No, when I was a kid, my favorite Sesame Street was the one with the farm animals, where they have Gloria singing "I'm proud, proud, proud to be a cow." Which have I sent you that?
No, but I think I have seen that one before,
Okay, yeah,
maybe.
that one's iconic. And then my brother was a big A to Z, which I believe had like someone famous as A. I need to look this up. Sesame Street A to Z, and Sheryl Crow was in it. Big Brother 3's Sheryl Crow, uh, if you remember that.
Mine that I still sing in my head all the time is it was an animated one.
Stephen Colbert was one of the letters. That's what it was.
Oh, my Sesame Street song that I always still sing is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Keep
Burp,
going.
burp, burp. Yeah, it's like that, and they
um,
just repeat it. And also I loved Follow That Bird, which is like the most the most depressing movie ever, but also like wonderful and funny. And I talk about that
I also forgot that
so
Nora Jones
much.
was in it. She sings "Tell Me Why I Didn't Come" for the letter Y.
So this kind of ties to the movie that we watch. So I was thinking about the fact that like there are some people and actually in Muppet Haunted Mansion, they all get to work with Muppets. But so afterwards, I watched Muppets Most Wanted because, admittedly, I actually hadn't seen that one, and I felt very much like a
Did you
horrible
like it better
parent.
than the original?
Like the
Of
original, like reboot, yes,
Yeah.
not like more than the originals, but more than the Jason Segel Muppet movie. Yes, I liked it more than that by like a long shot. Much like Waldo, I don't like Walter. Um, sorry, I'm here for my OGs and even like the evolution of people. Like obviously
So
Pepe,
my
not
take with
OG.
that, like "Manor Muppet" is a fun song, but Rio was robbed of that best song for the Oscar. It was just those two songs. "Take Me to Rio" was robbed
All right, I'll have
from.
to watch. So I'm very afraid of birds. So I've not watched Rio, and I know that they're not real. But I have heard my nephew enjoys Rio, so I'm like, I guess I should
Just
watch it
listen to
with
the
them.
soundtrack, even, or I think you
True.
would actually like the movie.
I think I would. There's, they're not real in that. I do love Tiki Room, which is funny.
Yeah. Do you
So
like the best tiki room? Even though I know this might be controversial, was Yago and Zazu, in my opinion.
no. Oh no. Felipe,
I was a
no.
kid.
I can understand, yeah, that would be if that was your experience of it, then yes, no. But I like my tiki room old
Is your conspiracy
and
theory that someone burned it
lazy.
down intentionally? The Yago and Zazu?
No, did wait? Oh yeah, they did like they. You know what? The animatronics do be setting on fire a lot. I love Tiki Room. I have a bunch of Tiki Room merch too.
But yeah, so what is your familiarity with this Muppets Haunted Mansion? Also, just to set this up, we were recording this on August 30th. So go wish Mel a belated happy birthday, even though you will probably be hearing this podcast. Let me look at my calendar, like first week of October. So to timestamp this, we're going to hold this podcast, but we're front loading a lot of them. But what is your history with the Muppets Haunted Mansion?
So when it came out, I was very excited and I watched it like immediately, and I absolutely like loved it. And I know I said it at the beginning, but it was such a treat beginning to end. It's impeccably detailed. It's so fun. The cameos are great. The music is great, and the ride bits are phenomenal. Like I just think maybe some minor editing in a couple of spots, and I
Mhm.
can tell you specifically when we get there. Um, but it's only 52 minutes, so or 55, something like
It's
that.
probably
So
like
that could maybe
45,
complain.
honestly, with the 7 minutes of
Yeah,
credits.
maybe. Yeah, is that what yeah. So there's one part that I feel like there's a little bit that drags at one point, and I've caught myself a few times, but overall, I love it. It's my new sort of like Halloween tradition movie because it's like a nice quick one to watch.
Mhm.
I really love it. What did you think about it?
So this is my third or fourth time watching it. Like I watched it. My the first time I watched it was when I first moved out to LA, which was around October 2021. And I went to hang out with my friends Gabby and Sydney and Kylie. I don't remember if Kylie was on set that day, so she might not have been there. But Sydney was making fried Oreos. I took an edible, and they were originally like yelling at me that I hadn't seen the original Haunted Mansion, but then we saw that Muppets Haunted Mansion was on there. And we were
I
eating
haven't
fried
seen, by the way,
Oreos.
I haven't seen the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion.
That's the one I haven't seen. I've seen the new one,
Yeah, I
ironically,
unfortunately saw
with
the new
Lakeith
one.
Stanfield. And I just heard what you said. Uh,
There was, I don't remember what it is. I need to like find it. There was something in that movie that I laughed so hard, and it was not meant to be funny. It might have been like the origin story of how I became a ghost or something. I don't remember, but there was something in that movie, and I was a little loosey goosey at the time. But boy, I was in tears because it was so
well,
so
so I
goofy.
went with a lot of my tour guide coworkers, and we there was the Dan Levy tour guide bit. That was what we laughed at the most because it was kind of like um, the it was really funny for us because it was like relatable.
Oh, I remember what it was. It was a video because I feel like there maybe also product. There was a weird product placement,
It was like Burger
if I
King a lot or
recall.
something.
There was something, yes, and then there was also because I it was that it was okay. It's all coming back to me that Lakeith's wife
Was the
was like
cat?
crave no that she had been like craving Burger King, and then she left and like got into a car accident on her way home from Burger King or something, and I was just like,
Did they
because
sign off on this?
right, because like we talked about them. I work at a company that we, you know, these, and it's like I can't imagine being like, yeah, we agree. We want like our product to be associated with like the tragic moment of it. And I know it happens in certain things, but like thinking about the fact that like there's a whole thing about like, oh, what kind of phones would someone carry in this, and why like villains don't carry iPhones because iPhone, like all that kind of stuff. And to think that like, oh, Burger King dead wife because she got hit by a car or getting a Big Mac.
A
I was
Whopper.
to get a Whopper. Oh my god. This Haunted Mansion is the superior of the two.
Yes.
Sorry to those in the other
Potentially
one.
the three, because neither of us has seen the Eddie Murphy. And then Gabby put it on after we watched this one. But that was so I was high, I loved it. And then the
Yeah.
next year we watched it at my friend Angel, who hosted a game night, and we watched it at that. Then I think I missed it last year. But this year, this was my watching of it. So I've
I'll
seen it
probably
a
watch it
handful of times.
again.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's like very like I think the jokes don't hit as much on the third watch as they do on the first watch. Because now I'm like kind of expecting like the Haunted Mansion like joke with the ghost at
I
the
think
end.
I've had enough of a break that it hit really well again this
Yes.
time with stuff. Or like it's one of those ones where maybe you kind of like coast and then the next time you watch it, you pick up something that you missed the first time or another joke. Like
Mhm.
in this one, I picked up obviously that there was like MacGuffin before. Like it was like, oh, it was there, but then to see it was like MacGuffin and the red herring, and I was like,
The
oh
red herring
yeah.
part, yeah.
Which is classic Muppet jokes. But it's the little details I like. And same with like when I go on Haunted Mansion as a ride, because there's so much to intake as you go on. Like every time I go on, I like to find that new detail of something
That's
that
kind
like
of like me
pops for
every time I
me.
watch Challengers. Every time I watch Challengers, it's like, oh, new details that I'm not.
Yeah, you just have that's the key with like why I keep going back to like a Disney World, a Disneyland, and going on these rides because you sometimes I have that moment where you step out and you're like, what am I doing here? Like, and I like see it from above, but then I think about like enjoying the fine details of it, and that's why this movie is fun. This ride is fun because every time you're like, oh, I never, especially there's 999 haunts. You got to start identifying as you go. Find a new one each time. It's like
Mhm.
how I know you're going to watch Gremlins. Every time I watch Gremlins, I notice a new gremlin every year and I get
Yeah.
very excited. I want to start um like a gremlin encyclopedia where I just like list each gremlin to be like, beer gremlin, breakdance gremlin, whatever. I'm not going to name them all because I'm not spoiling all the gremlins for you.
I've seen the first Gremlins. I haven't seen
Right.
Gremlins: The New
Second,
Batch.
right. And that's
Have you
why I'm
seen
not
the
saying
animated
that
thing
one.
they did like last year, the Curse of the
I
Mogwai or
st
whatever?
I started it. I didn't
Was
finish,
it
and it wasn't
bad?
because I dislike no, I
Mm.
just, like, forgot,
Yeah,
which is probably not a great thing. I do wanna finish it. I thought it was cute. I liked
yeah.
it.
That's like me with Monsters at Work. I saw season two's out. I'm like, I'll watch it eventually.
My thing is I like puppets.
Yeah. Have you seen? Okay,
So,
so
like, it ties to this, which is
the most
I prefer
recent.
the tactical puppet of it, and I like the story of the Gremlins, but I probably would have liked it better if it was a puppet gremlin.
So my um my most recent podcast that the listeners will have heard at this point when this is released is Scooby Doo Adventures: The Mystery Map, which is the puppet Scooby Doo. Have you ever seen that one? It's cracked. It's unhinged.
Oh, I can't wait. No, I have
Yes,
not.
it's on Max. 45 minutes. Highly recommend you watch it.
Perfect timing. Everything should be
Yes.
90 minutes or less, by the way. And if
Yes.
it's under an hour, it's even better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I don't need this 2 hour 20 nonsense.
It's too long.
3 hour movies, forget it. Like Dune, both Dune movies, like lost my mind.
If
Uh,
I have to I think I actually no, I didn't I think I went to bed this time during it, but usually like I end up having to like pause a Dune if I watch at home and take like a 20-minute cat nap. It's
yeah,
too much. It's too much
it's
for
too
me.
much. Or bring back intermissions. If you're gonna have these long ass movies, you have to give like a 30-minute intermission.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah. But let's. So you're familiar is that you love it, and you obviously enjoy the ride. And so, like, what was when you first heard about this? What were your thoughts about like the Muppet Haunted Mansion? And then obviously it exceeded your expectations because it's all about Gonzo, and Pepe.
Of course.
But yeah, what were your
Um
expectations?
I wasn't sure what to think. I was just like, okay, it's something. And I was just like relieved that they were finally using them. Because
Yeah,
Muppets had been sitting stagnant for a while, probably since Muppets Most Wanted at this point, doing here or there that they do some guest
they
appearances
tried a TV
occasionally.
show that didn't do well.
Yeah,
Uh,
the one that was like The Office, and actually wasn't that bad, but just it didn't succeed. So whenever they do bring out the Muppets, I get excited because it means like they still see the value in them and that they don't want them to disappear because there's a lot of times that they never had to come back. And I always get afraid of that sort of moment. Um, what's a bummer is they did this, and then we have. I don't know how long. This is what I don't know is production wise. I don't know how long it takes to make a Muppet movie. Like I don't know. Like is this the most strenuous project and like how much detail everything. But I'm bummed we haven't seen anything new after this with them. Be it like a larger feature, but I kind of felt like, oh, make every ride that you have something like into this. I was like, make a, this is a question I have for you, but I was like, make a Muppets Carousel of Progress or, Muppet Jungle
yes.
Cruise. Like, I want to see a Muppet version of all of these rides. I thought it was really fun.
I agree. I like that. This is a great way to like corporate synergy. Use the Muppets to
Right.
promote your theme parks.
It's
Like,
just so smart. Like, they just did Donald Duck on Hot Ones, which I think is so brilliant and such a good idea.
like
But like,
I will never
let
understand.
Kermit go on Hot Ones.
Yes, I think so too. I don't understand why they have never attempted to use the Kingdom Keepers IP with anything, which is the like YA series about those kids who are child actors. They show up, they become Disney
I don't think.
holograms,
Oh, you know what?
and
Maybe I
then
know that
they
one.
when
I
they
was thinking of
sleep,
Kingdom Keeper, the card game you used to play at Magic
I
Kingdom.
think that yeah,
Might be
but no,
related, actually.
well, so they go to sleep, and then when they're sleeping, they apparate into the park, and they have to go defeat Maleficent in the first one, and they have to go on the Pirates of the Caribbean
I'm gonna
rides,
read
and
this.
the animatronics like attack these kids for the pirates, and like the Small World dolls attack, and like they have to go on all these rides to solve a mystery. And then the second one is like an Animal Kingdom, and the third one's at Epcot, and like so.
This
Um,
ends up my. I need to read this.
yeah,
Yeah, because
I read the first four, I think, and then there's like seven. It's and then they went on to like the spin-off series, and so that's like a whole like franchise. And they've
yeah.
never utilized this as like, I think this would be a great television program, and they don't need to film at the parks like they used to potentially need to, where they can use those LED screens that they use for the Mandalorian and all that stuff. And I feel like this is IP, and but the Muppets making like parodies or like spoofs of these theme
Right.
park rides that are especially like tied to Disney, but like not themed after anything. Like Haunted Mansion was a ride before it was anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the Haunted Mansion's its own IP at this point that's separate, and it's one of the few things at the park that hasn't been fully touched by other IP, and so I appreciate that because I get
Except
afraid
for
every
Nightmare Before
time.
Christmas during the
Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah,
It's largely not, and same with a few other rides, like, and they haven't infiltrated,
Jungle
the
Cruise,
animatronic of those
Expedition
other things yet.
Everest, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a few things like that, but now as we've seen, like with the evolution of Disney, everything is linked to an IP linked to that, and I understand it.
pour one out for
As I
Dino
always say,
World.
and my key tagline, of course, is from a business perspective, I understand it. But I
That's
just
gonna
I
be
thought
on your tombstone from a business
yeah, from a
perspective.
business perspective. Um, but the thing with the Muppets is that they lean in so hard to like always want to make it like a full movie, and it's like this is perfect. And
Yeah,
make a special here and there, like a Muppets Christmas special, this kind of stuff. Like it doesn't need to be this box office thing. And I don't know what the streaming numbers were, and I guess that's that side of it. But it just seems like a no brainer to me. Like, hey, do 45 minutes and do this. What was that? There was that I forget the name of it. It was the talk show of like the alien puppet that was made by the Jim Henson Workshop that was on Disney Plus. Really
ooh,
delightful. They got rid of it, of course.
um,
But it was a really clever show and really fun to see. And
I
I think
mean,
that we're missing that. Or like Muppet shorts, like do some 5-minute segments with interviews, like how they have that Sesame Street
did you ever watch
Elmo talk show.
Did you ever watch Sharpay, Miss Piggy, and Kermit the Frog do Bop to the Top?
No.
I'm sending you this. Keep continuing your point. I'm
Oh
right.
my gosh. Yeah, and that's I they do use the Muppets, but I think that they could be used a lot more. And I think that they need and could have more theme park representation besides so last time, not last time actually, it was a few times ago. I did get to see how they were doing the like that Muppet history in Liberty whatever Liberty Land, I forget what it's called. Where they had the Muppets pop out and they like sang history songs and they got rid of it, which is a bummer because it was such a delight that I stumbled on it because I forgot it was there. Um, so they had a little bit in the parks. I know now that they have like a restaurant in Epcot. But I also think that if you go to Epcot and eat American food there, like you're really missing the opportunity and the point. You can
What
stop
goes
around
to
like the bar
Epcot?
crawl.
Like my parents would sometimes like we would go to another park and then make reservations at Epcot restaurants at night to go to Epcot and
Yeah,
like eat at Morocco or eat at
exactly.
France.
Taste the world. Also, I I'm a person that now, due to all like the food kiosks, because there's always something like I just will never have a sit down meal at Epcot. I just think it's pointless. You can get such a good value of just eating little treats all
Yeah,
day.
because now everything's mobile order. But like I do want like I mean for we did the Benihana in Japan. Like I like those sit down
Yeah,
deals. Like
that's yeah. So like
the
the
one
American
thing
one,
I'm sad about.
I would go to the American one simply because it is Muppets, and maybe that's
Oh, the American
one part of it.
Pavilion. Sorry,
The
yeah.
American Pavilion, yeah. I actually have never even gotten into that pavilion. I went to
Have
the
you never seen the
bathroom there.
show, the American History Show or whatever?
No. So fun fact, mutual friend of ours, Courtney, I was at Epcot, had time to kill. I had a lot. And I mentioned going and she was like, I was a history major and this is like I would never tell anyone to sit through this ever in their life. So I need you for a
Well,
completely
they
different
should do the
perspective,
American
but
history. Have you seen the at the Liberty Square the Muppets
that's what
sometimes
it
do?
is. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yes.
Okay.
Put that
Great moments of
in Epcot.
history, but only American ones.
Yes, that's the thing I stumbled. Okay, that's the thing I stumbled upon, and I loved it. And it was so fun, and like they were popping out of the doors, and then they got rid of that. I'm like, why? It's just so hard. They're just so funny, and we're not gonna have the Muppets for generations to come if we don't keep using them and
Yeah,
getting kids to like them. And that's, if I had a child, I'd be force feeding it Muppets from an age of 3 years old, like I was. But if we don't show them these kind of things, then they're gonna die, and we don't
yeah,
want that. We want them to live forever. In fact, that is something I made a note, which is that thank God that they are frozen in time because old Gonzo was one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
terrifying. Yeah,
Like, is that what he looks like? Because also then in Muppets Most Wanted, they showed like an aged Kermit and Piggy, with the joke being like Piggy looks perfect because she would uptake. And Kermit looks a little just worn, but my God, old Gonzo. And I know maybe it's that he went a little crazed as well. That was a truly horrifying puppet.
Nasty. I didn't like it.
It was disgusting.
Disgusting.
I take that out.
Yeah,
Edit. We don't need to.
disgusting.
No, it
Yeah.
was actually very important for the
It was
story,
important for the plot, but that might have been the most terrifying thing besides
but
John
just let them
Samos's.
never let them age.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we have to keep them alive, because if not, that's what they will turn into looking
Hmm.
like.
Yeah, and they're gonna be in the attic, like in Toy Story 3. We don't want them to be addicts.
No.
No, um, no. So which is why I appreciate that Sesame Street is still thriving, because hopefully, like,
Yeah.
these kids who are really into Sesame Street will then find the Muppets through that. Um, but they're like, I think the Not So Late Show with Elmo is genius. Do some
It's
more talk
so
shows,
smart.
and they like tried to cancel it, and I don't know if it's still like able. Is it lost media because of the conglomerate trying to erase stuff from streaming potentially? But bring back like the Muppets. Like, I think Miss Piggy should be like in the rotation for when Jimmy Fallon takes a break and he needs or Jimmy Kimmel or whoever, like anyone takes a break, have Miss Piggy there as a guest host.
That's such a good idea. And also, I just saw, I need to watch it. Hopefully, I have some time this weekend. It's a long weekend. Hopefully, I can squeeze in that there is some sort of a Cookie Monster, like, I don't know if I think it's just a 1 hour special, but they're basically like going to help kids do like a bake sale to raise money for their school or something. I don't know if
I
it's a
love that.
competition or whatever, but I'm like, oh my God. So I think that they do a really good job keeping Sesame Street going, because it is like, no, like Sesame Street is tailored towards a younger audience. It has very intelligent humor, but it is meant for kids. Muppets is, though, a smarter sense of humor that is sort of for an adult. And if kids get it, like the kids that do, I think like kids who watch Muppets have like really good senses of humor when they become adults, because it is like so smart. And
Hmm.
not to disrespect other things, but just it's a very distinct sense of humor. I actually did go to they did an anniversary screening of the Muppet movie on the big screen.
The
I went to
original,
that. The original, yeah. It was
not the
just like an
trash that you don't like because you
AMC.
don't like Waldorf.
No, I would see it. No, no, I wouldn't. I don't need to see that one again. My gripe with that movie
I've never
is
actually seen it, I don't think.
yeah, it's so I will take all Muppets that you give to me. And I know I missed Muppets Most Wanted. I just genuinely forgot. And maybe it was because
I
I got
saw that one
burned
on a
by that
plane.
one.
I saw that one
Yeah.
on a plane.
And that's guilty, which is that I say I want more Muppets, and I missed something, but this refreshed it. So the Jason Segel one, I was really happy that any Muppets is good Muppets to me. It's like, okay, I got my gang. However, I felt like that one was more so about the Muppet he created and that story, and less about like our Muppets and
The
the
ones that we
group.
like.
Yeah, like I don't give a shit about this Muppet you made up, that he's a Muppet, but he's not really part of the Muppets, but he wants to be a Muppet. I like the idea of the story of like, oh, anyone, because ultimately the Muppets is always about they're better together.
Hmm.
That it's about that they're not a
They're
solo entity, they
friends.
are a
Like,
group.
literally, the
They're
message of this
friends,
movie
they're
is like
family.
that
That's what this
Gonzo
was.
did his own thing, and then he was sad that he missed out on a night with his friends,
Yeah, like that Gonzo's one fear is like they
being
forget me and I
alone.
don't have friends anymore. And that was Muppets Most Wanted ended up being about like Kermit being isolated from the group. Like all these movies, it's just like Toy Story. Like one gets lost, we need everybody back together. It's the camaraderie of it. They're about family. So I like that aspect of it, but there's just like, and it had good music. Um, but it just is not a movie that held up for me in the long run, because it just was not enough of the Muppets I
Mhm.
wanted, um, and a little bit of the other ones. There's not enough Gonzo for me. Like I'm the person that I don't hate Muppets from Space. Again, I love Gonzo. I think it's a really beautiful, haunting thing. It's about him just want Gonzo just always wants to belong, and he's
Yes.
weird, and that's
No, and
why
that
I like
was so
Gonzo. He's so
relatable.
weird. Gonzo is so uniquely weird and bizarre, and I always relate and appreciate that about him. That he's just like I wrote in my notes, which I if Maddie Gagan's listening to this, he hates when you say I reference my notes, but like Gonzo and Pepe, especially Pepe, are really like the definition of it is somebody going to match my freak. Like they're so weird in the best way. Pepe is a creep, and yet somehow in a way that it's
Pepe is
fun.
kind of a creep. He's such a himbo.
Yeah, he's like he just the whole movie he just wants to find celebrities, and
He's like a
hook up with
starfucker.
them. Yeah, Juan Stamos.
Yeah. Juan Stimbles. Yeah, so I was gonna ask next. Well, how do you feel about Pepe as a Muppet?
I grew to like him. I initially, there was that era where I think like Pepe and I can't remember some of the others who were introduced in that like 90s like TGIF show that they had of the Muppets. And it took me a while, like Clifford and stuff. And at first I was like, I don't know, but I've grown to it. I think Pepe is like a really good foil to Gonzo. I know it used to be Rizzo, and there was
Mhm.
like a lot of it sounded like more like it was like puppeteer drama that happened
Okay.
behind the scenes or something. Tapping in Jimmy if he were here, he would be able to answer all this stuff because it sounds like there's a lot of just like behind the scenes drama, which is somebody needs to write that book or make that documentary.
I'd watch it.
But I appreciate Pepe for what he is, and I think it's that he serves as like a foil to Gonzo because like
Mhm.
Camilla doesn't talk.
Yeah. No,
No
we
Camilla in
love
this at
Camilla
all.
the
Just a
chicken.
reference.
Yeah, we didn't see her. We did see Janice, I believe.
We do see Janice gets to be iconically. Janice is probably one of my favorite Muppets by far.
Are those the four your favorites in Gonzo?
And so I actually he's cut off over here. I have Zoot. So and then I
Okay.
have Lips came. So I got these, an artist did these like on Tumblr, uh like 15 years ago, this might maybe longer. And I collected them all. He worked with Disney and did like a release. It was the most stressful thing to make sure I get the whole set. And it was the set of 5. And then last year, he was like, we didn't have Lips. So thankfully, for anybody who had the full set, you got priority to get it. So I
Yeah.
have Lips, but I have this beautiful gallery roll, and I would have to take it all apart to fit him. So one day he will be up there, but I have him in a box over there. I love my Muppet art.
Yes, we love the Muppets.
Janice is like a personal. I always said Muppets Take Manhattan. Our favorite line that we would always quote, like as a family, was in Muppets Take Manhattan, and they're all like living in lockers. And Janice is like, I'll trade with whoever has the jacuzzi. So I always look forward to Janice. And so when Muppet Haunted Mansion happened and Janice was the stretching room ghost, I was like, I need that painting in my home. The
No,
others were all really clever too, but but just specifically Janice is just she's just so funny.
I just realized the movie that my family quotes the most to each other is Emperor's New Groove. Like, so that's like,
I didn't see that till like 2 years ago.
Mel, you were missing out.
I know. Is that error? I think where
It
maybe
was a weird
at
era of
point
Disney.
a weird error
It was
Disney,
like
and
the post Renaissance, pre 3D.
I think I was probably at that point, like maybe like in a junior high, early to high school, where you're like probably like I'm too cool for that. I'm gonna go see Patch Adams instead.
um,
Yes, I saw Patch Adams in theaters. It was terrible.
what have the Muppets? There is one specific example I'm thinking of, but like, are you familiar with any other Halloween escapades that the Muppets have done?
Something sounds familiar. I mean,
Because
they
for
always kind of
me,
do haunted episodes, and they have like their old some of the other things, but I can't think of anything top
because
of
for me,
mind.
when Disney Channel used to do Disney Channel Monstober, one of their things that I loved watching was the Muppets Wiz, or was it the Wizard of Oz? Muppets, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have not seen that in so long, so I need to because I do not remember much of it. And again, it's putting them into these properties, be it like existing IP or like things past the not what like when it's what's the term when everybody can use it?
Oh, public domain.
Public domain. Public domain them. Shove them into everything. Make oh my god, I bought for my friends as a gift. I found online on like Amazon they had uh these are books, so like novels. A Muppet Phantom of the Opera and oh my god, I forget the other book. But basically like they put them the Muppets into just like classic literature. And I was like, this
Yes.
is brilliant. Do this more. Like Muppify everything. We there that like always goes, viral. Like every month or two, you'll see like a whatever movie and make it a Muppet
Oh,
version or like
I
replace it
really
all the
want Benoit
time.
Blanc to interact with the Muppets.
It would be if they did Knives Out with Muppets. I would give them all my money. I'd say, here's my bank account. Let me help fund this for you. It
Get
would be
producer credit.
genius. That's the thing is, I think there's so much I would love. Yeah, like a Muppet like murder mystery. I guess like the other ones are kind of like that because
Put the Muppets in
they're
the Big
heist.
Brother
But
house.
oh my god, give them a reality. Yeah, do a Muppet reality show. Do some kind of a thing where Muppet is on or like a Muppet on Celebrity Big Brother. Put Miss Piggy on Celebrity Big Brother, or I don't know,
Put
Traders.
Miss Piggy.
Put Miss
Yeah,
Piggy on Traders.
Traders with Monet Exchange.
Exactly. Like there's so many
Or
opportunities, and
Statler
I
and
just think
Waldorf as like singing judges or like game show
yeah, something.
judges.
But I want to see them more
Yeah.
regularly used. I think there's opportunity and some creative ways. I think it's just a matter of like, do they want to prioritize them? But yeah, I would love now that you said the Wizard of Oz, I'm like, yeah, like we need more of that. Now I
Yeah.
also want to borrow
I
those
mean,
books
if
to
you're
my
gonna make
friend.
all these live action Disney's, make them with the Muppets instead.
Yeah, who get the Muppet Lion King?
Yeah, Muppet Lion King. Who would be Simba?
Oh, Robin.
Robin. And
Yes,
then who
like
would
my
Janice
age.
be?
Oh, Janice would be one of those hyenas.
Yes.
Like
I
absolutely. Though actually, I guess
Animal would be
Animal
Ed.
probably would be the animal would probably be like the hyena that like doesn't speak.
The
The one
one
who
that's
just
just
like
a
laughs.
goober.
The one who's
Yeah,
just like a goober
Ed.
and laughs. And then there's
Yeah.
like the two smarter ones. One would be Janice and one would be Floyd probably.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Muppets interacting with like real life people and like celebrities? Because there were like the celebrity
Would love it.
cameos.
I
Yeah.
love it. So my gripe with when I watched Muppets Most Wanted afterwards was that there were a lot of celebrities in it, but they weren't like it's clear they didn't film with a Muppet. And I was like, what is the point of doing a Muppet movie if you don't get to be in a scene with the Muppets? Like if they told
Yeah.
me like, hey, and this was like the two I remember when I thought of this was Stanley Tucci
Mm.
and Tom Hiddleston. And Stanley Tucci plays like a prison guard. And I was like, you don't even get to meet a Muppet. You're gonna be in it and you could say I'm in a Muppet movie. Great. You didn't even get to talk to Kermit. Then what the fuck did you even do? Did you show up? Like that's a waste to me. Like
Yeah.
I would give my all my
Like if they
wins
say, Mel, you
to
could be in a
meet them.
Muppet movie, but you don't get to interact with a Muppet, or you
Then
could
what?
just be an
No,
audience member. What would you
audience
rather
member
be?
and I get to meet a Muppet. I to meet a Muppet is all I care about. I don't need the glory being on screen. It's if they said you get to meet Kermit Frog, no pictures. Yeah, who cares? I want to meet and interact with a Muppet. Like
Yeah.
that's all I want somehow. And I don't know. It's a dream. You have to like come to terms. You're like, I never will probably get to meet a Muppet unless I did a Muppet meet and greet at the park.
Muppet meet and greet.
That
Yeah.
actually would be. Can I tell you? It would be absolutely brilliant because right now is Halloween season at the parks. If outside the Haunted Mansion, you could meet
Gonzo and
Haunted
Pepe.
Mansion Gonzo, yeah, or it's just a photo op,
Not the
something.
scary one. I don't want to meet him.
No, nice Gonzo in his little suit
Yes.
because he's so
And
cute.
Will Arnett, and then
Oh my God, Will Arnett was so
okay,
he was
can you
so
settle with
good in
the?
this.
He's also so good looking.
He is. He looks great as the Silver Fox. And I'm assuming they dyed his hair. I think he
He
keeps
was
it
one of
normal,
my
but
early like crushes,
yeah.
like Arrested
And
Development.
because I think I'd gotten a little maybe not tired, but I'd watched like that Lego show and I was like, are you being annoying? But he earned me back with this because he's
And
just
he's
so funny
my
and
favorite
secret.
Batman.
He should actually be a real Batman. He should be face Batman because I
Yeah.
could see it. He would make a good Bruce Wayne. My thing about many of the Batmans is like, who's a good like Batman and Bruce Wayne? Because my
Yeah.
controversial opinion is just like I
George
think yeah,
Clooney's the best Bruce Wayne.
I think like Mike.
Or besides Michael Keaton.
Well, no, because I was gonna say I've always said I don't think Michael Keaton is a good Bruce Wayne. I think he's a good Batman. I don't think he's a good Bruce Wayne. Sorry, I don't buy that everybody's throwing themselves at that man.
Though
It doesn't do it for me. Maybe if I rewatch now, I'm an older woman. I'm probably his
Batman
age at this
Returns is
point.
cracked. I love Batman Returns.
I was always a big Val. I always felt personally I was a big Val Kilmer's Batman fan for both.
That
I thought
one's
he made a really
cracked for
good
the
Bruce
bad.
Wayne.
That was like a
I love
bad. That was a boring movie.
I think that Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne, and I have not seen
Probably,
the Ben
yeah.
Affleck one because I just don't care. I've like
Yeah.
given up. I'm like I'm not.
I feel like
DC
a better
girl.
material who could have been better, but I also first two things. Settle a debate between me and my friend Karina. Who's more attractive, Jason Bateman or Will Arnett?
Ooh, that's so different. I feel like I'm more of a Bateman girl, but that's thing. It's more of like a matter of preference.
Yeah.
There isn't like a right or wrong answer.
Okay. And
It's
then
a Sophie's choice.
yes. And then secondly, Las Culturistas attacked all the Leos with their recent podcast because they were dragging
Wow.
Shawn Mendes and Ben Affleck. But
Ben Affleck's my birthday buddy.
oh my
We have the same
God,
birthday. Yeah, August 15th, an elite day.
mine
It's
is Maya
myself.
Rudolph.
It's also Joe Jonas Day.
Yes.
Jennifer Lawrence, the
They named
girl who
all of them.
played Hazel from Degrassi.
Mhm.
Um, Julia Child, rest in peace. A lot
I
of
worked on that show.
the Julia show.
Yeah, the first season I worked on it.
No way. When it was in
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah, I was a COVID PA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my name's in the credits. That's the only thing I've ever had my name in the credits for, because the other ones they like just do like the fragmented credits or whatever. But they yeah, they so for me it's like Maya Rudolph, Alex Rodriguez, Tim Spicer from Survivor 46, first Survivor player to ever have my birthday.
I don't know if any Survivor player is my birthday. I don't think so. There's not a lot of I feel like actually there's not a lot of Leos on Survivor, or there's not a
which
lot of
is
Leo winners.
Sandra, notably.
Yeah, she's like one of the. I remember there
And
was a
I
list
think
once,
Kenzie
and there
now
weren't
is
a lot.
also.
Is she?
You
Yeah,
know
for
who's
a
the
long
Leo
time there were
Big
not.
Brother winner? Mike Buggy.
We don't speak of.
Yeah. Erica was rep.
Wait, I had something else that was a Muppet one too. But
Which Survivor players do you want to see interact with the Muppets? Like, I want to see Angelina and Miss Piggy.
That would be pretty good. Well, obviously, first, just had an idea. It's Muppet White Lotus.
Michael White, where are you? Michael
White,
Christopher Wright,
make
where are you right
this.
now?
Because I was gonna say I think Mike White, because obviously he's very dry.
Yeah.
It'd be a good one. I would actually just really enjoy how stiff Jeff Probst is trying to interact with a Muppet.
I would love to see Julie Chen interview a Muppet.
Oh my God. Julie Chen would be so trying so hard. And then she would be like, Gonzo, have you followed like the word of Christ?
Hey, who's the most religious Muppet, do you think?
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, because I brought that up because Muppets Most Wanted has Ricky Gervais in it. And I was like, do you think he just like through every take would just like afterwards, like while they're waiting, just tell Kermit constantly, like, I'm an atheist, because that's all he does in all of his stand-up now. Sam the Eagle. Sam the Eagle definitely seems like a devout man of God.
Sam the Eagle's politics scare me.
Yeah, we don't ask. we don't ask that. He's from a different generation.
Should we talk about the movie itself?
I guess we probably should.
Yeah. So Muppets Haunted Mansion from October 2021, October 8th, 2021, via the Disney Plus. So the Muppets are having an annual Halloween party, and then Gonzo and Pepe decide to go challenge their fears at an event in the Haunted Mansion where Gonzo's favorite magician, the Great MacGuffin, disappeared 100 years ago. They get dropped off by their hearse driver, Yvette Nicole Brown, notable Survivor fan. And Gonzo and Pepe meet the caretaker, played by Darren Criss, and they meet a ton of several ghosts and singing busts. Among them, we have the late Ed Asner, Jeannie Mai, Chrissy Metz, Alfonso Ribeiro, Danny Trejo, Sashir Zameda, Sky Jackson, Jeff Keighley, Justina Machado, Craig Robinson, and Boo, Patch Sajak.
I know. I saw that and I was like, ugh. But one thing I love about Muppets, this is my idea I've always had too. I love their cameos, because I know we started to talk about like them interacting with humans. I've always loved that part of it, of the cameo aspect of it, and therefore why, like, if you're gonna film, you better get to meet a Muppet. Is my idea has always been like sort of a pop-up video, or like how Amazon does a thing where you pause and it tells you who's on screen, but it tells you who the cameo is.
Yeah.
Because like when you watch the old ones too, especially if like you're younger, you're like, who is that person? And you don't realize it. Like I didn't know until this time. There was always one in like the Muppet movie that I was like, oh, he's kind of like a handsome 70s man, sort of like whatever. And then I was like, oh wait, when I saw like his name, I was like, oh, he was the dude who was like one of the politicians on Succession. And that's like 50 years later, obviously. But I was like, oh, that guy, it's Gil Thorpe or whatever. So I like the idea of like, if you could label them all for me, because sometimes you don't know who they are. And then you find out later. And then you're like, oh, what a huge star they were back in their time.
So this
I
dude
love that music number too. I thought this was such a good intro.
Yeah, no, it was great. This guy whose name I couldn't say, he's like a video game reporter and journalist. So that's I didn't know him. Apparently, he's also going to be he was in The Matrix Resurrections. He's a Canadian video game journalist, Jeff Keighley. But everyone else I recognized.
Well, Jeannie Mai me was like a pull because I was like,
I
oh,
was like,
I
what?
recognized her, but I was like,
Well, she's been making headlines
interesting.
lately, so
What
uh,
is she doing? Is
I
that
think
good or
she's
bad
getting
one?
divorced.
Oh,
But she was robbed on Dancing with the Stars because she was actually good, and then she like pulled her like Achilles or something, or
you
she
know the
no,
people that like you know her name or like, and she does a lot of stuff, but like hosts. I think it's one of the, like I consider her a host, and I feel like usually in Muppet stuff, I feel like usually it's
I'm
like
just glad Sashir
actors and
Zameda got her
hosts.
coin because I'm a big Sashir fan. I
That
have
was
been since
great.
she was on SNL. One of my favorite SNL sketches is the one where Chris Rock is her dad, and she's like this 15-year-old girl doing dancing videos in her room, and then her dad walks into the room, starts reading the comments, and she's like, "Dad, stop policing me!" Like, and then now she's going to be in the WandaVision show or Agatha show. And like, I mean, I'm a fan of her and Nicole. I've seen her podcast taping twice with Nicole and at the Largo. Like, I love Best Friends. So I want to know what her thoughts on being with the Muppets was. Like, she got to be in a Muppet thing.
Yeah,
It was
it was
just so
a
cool.
good one too. And I love in this particular like music number one, I love the song. I think it ties perfectly to the ride, to the experience of everything happening. And I love the puppet ghosts they make, which are just
Yes.
probably like as simple as
Well, I
like
thought
a
one of them was
tennis
Janice at
ball or
first.
something. It has like a Janice energy. It's probably why I liked
Yeah.
it. It's just like a sheet over probably like a ball, a tennis ball or something. And it's just like so perfect and so Muppet that I
Yeah.
love it. Like they steal the show for me. Other than there are afterwards, like the skeleton ghosts, which are really fun
Mhm.
too.
And it was also like fun seeing Danny Trejo there asking for the tacos. Justina
He
Machado,
was
I'm
in
a big
Muppets Most Wanted too.
yes, we love Danny Trejo.
Now that I've seen it,
When you come visit LA, we should go to his taco truck.
I've heard great things.
Yes.
My friends know him,
Ooh, fun.
but not enough to
Machete.
be on claim to fame, unfortunately.
Oh my god. Can I say I'm related to and do you think if I lie, do you think we could scam claim to fame and like pretend we're someone we're
We
not?
don't want to defame, but we don't want to defame claim to fame.
Valid.
We want to keep it
Valid.
on forever.
That's valid. I do think claim to fame LRG would be something really fun to like try to cobble together. Like where you have to like you give everyone like a one sheet of who their celebrity is and like go workshop like your character and make it like kind of an improv game. I feel like that like I feel like I would that's one I kind of want to like produce. I've never like had much interest in producing an LRG, but that one I'm like I feel like that's interesting.
Put a Muppet on claim to fame.
Put a Muppet on claim to fame. Put Rizzo the Rat there.
Yeah, put or like then it's like actually that'd be like a fun promo would be if you had Robin and it's like I wonder who his celebrity relative is and it's like
Yeah.
duh, the other frog, the other famous frog in history.
We also so Justina Machado, shout out to One Day at a Time. I love that show. Underrated. Rest in peace. And then so we get into so anything else you want to add about like Darren Criss or Yvette Nicole Brown's
No,
early part of the
really
film?
just fun to have it. And I think that, Yvette Nicole Brown sets up the idea that like you're not coming out, like
Yeah.
you're going in, probably never coming back out.
Which is like the real ride. It's like there's
Yeah.
999 ghosts. There's one
It
for
really is like when you watch it, it really does progress exactly how the ride experience is. Like this is you're in the queue, you're seeing the gravestone. So he's like making the gravestones that you see while you're waiting in line. And
Mhm.
then as we continue,
We go
that was
in
like my reaction. I'm like,
and
oh,
then
this is a ride.
we get the ghost host, Will Arnett, Daddy. Like if he ever comes out as bisexual, it's over for everyone. um, tells Gonzo that he has been summoned to the mansion to see if he can survive one night. And if he can't, he and Pepe will be trapped there forever. So like Pepe's just a plus one. He's not even there
He's
for
just
like
there.
yeah,
He's the
because
bonus Jonas.
the Franklin. Um, so we get Gonzo claiming that he's afraid of nothing, and Pepe is scared by everything he sees. Is this when they go down the elevator?
Yes, they do
Yes,
the elevator.
they do
So then
the,
that's when I'm like, this is the ride. It's happening.
and that's where your girl Janice is.
The stretching room portraits are so perfectly done as well. To have like the New Zealand on the TNT dynamite barrel is such a clever That's when you just realize like, oh, they're nailing the details of this ride here
This
to
is made
like
by fans
somebody
for fans.
and that's the thing about this, which is that I think if I were not a theme park person, I would probably be like, this is a fine, this is like a funny Muppet thing. But the attention to detail is on such a level that not to like jump ahead, but like the Haunted Mansion obviously has this very iconic purple wallpaper with the eyes. They redo that to use it and do Muppet eyes. And it's such a small detail, the Muppet eyes and a little bit of like Muppet decor, but it just is like chef's kiss. Like you thought of everything here, like no spared expense.
I appreciated all the attention to detail and like the in references to the ride. Like even at the end when they get on the like the ghost buggy, it's just so good. When I like as a kid, for me, the scariest part of the Haunted Mansion was the elevator room. Like I feel like that was just like
The
overwhelmingly more.
hangman.
Yeah, no,
That
just
was
like
very scary.
and then so we end up seeing that they go meet Madame Pagoda, who isn't Miss Piggy, or it's resembles Miss Piggy because Miss Piggy's actually with Kermit the Frog at that point.
At that point, yeah.
And they're
And they,
dressed
by
as
the way, they're
Kermit and
cutely yes each other.
Miss Piggy. Yeah. And Scooter was dressed as Elvis. We forgot to mention that. What's your take on Scooter?
I like Scooter. He's kind of fun. He's the
Yeah.
dork. It's always interesting that there's Scooter is a puppet, but Skeeter from Muppet Babies never made it past that point. And I would really, there's your future movie is like they find Skeeter. They're like, where the hell did she go?
Yes.
Justice for Skeeter.
Also, we saw that Dr. Honey Bunsen and Beaker were statues because, and they had the union jokes throughout the movie, and
It
like,
was so yeah, that
yeah,
was a really good one, which is like, yeah,
yeah.
we're just here
Are
as
you
a
aware that
cameo.
Beaker is a Survivor winner in the post-show recaps Brand Steel universe?
That
He won Pearl Islands, and Beaker, I believe, was second place in Heroes versus Villains.
I will say, in comparison to some of the people who made it to the end of Pearl Islands, I could see him winning against many of them due to personality.
Yeah,
In a pure Muppet one, if we really were to like go through it and really talk it all out, I think it's not possible. But
yeah. I think
circumstances
Kermit
change. You just
wins.
don't know.
I feel like
I think Kermit's too charismatic.
Kermit's up there. He's like a winner pick for sure.
Yeah, he's a winner pick. I think someone like a Dr. Teeth has a shot to win.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's like personable enough, but not too much. We could really think on this. I need to like make a list of them.
I had the joy and honor of getting to write Miss Piggy as a Survivor player for Panama when I was a writer for that season, and just getting to write Miss Piggy interacting with like Eleanor Shellstrop and Gus Fring and like that was and Homer Simpson was just so fun.
I do
Squidward
think,
was also,
unfortunately, in Real Survivor, Piggy does not last
Piggy
very
was the
long.
merge boot. She was the Nick Stanberry of Panama.
Yeah, I think Piggy would be a tough sell. And in the Monarch, I think maybe even Piggy quits the show in episode one.
Yeah.
Piggy is not Survivor. Piggy is I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here.
Yes. Put her on Celebrity Big Brother
Put her. Yeah, she's
on
meant to
Dancing
be
with the
in a home.
Stars.
I really do think, and I know it's like not possible, but truly to get like a Muppet and to really like if you put Miss Piggy on Traders, or like it really would be like icon, like it would be huge. I
Put
know it's
Miss
not really
Piggy on
feasible, but
Dancing with the Stars with Stephen Nedorosik.
it'd be something very interesting. There's something to, or like I think Sweetums is the only full body Muppet. Put him on.
Yeah.
There's something very fun about that. Or like
Or Big Bird.
Big Bird. Oh well. I guess there's somebody else doing it now. Carol
Yeah.
Spenny, rest in peace.
Yeah. So then we get them talking to Miss Pagoda, and they see the room of ghosts resembling the other Muppets. And we
And by
get,
the way, Miss Pagoda, you get a cameo from the actual Madame Leota's daughter, who's an Imagineer at Disney.
nice. I didn't actually notice that. Thank you for
Yes, I
pointing it out.
forget her name, so apologies to that Imagineer. But I watched the Imagineering story on Disney Plus, and she was on it. So Leota Toombs is like the woman, the Imagineer who did Haunted Mansion, and her head's in the crystal ball in the ride. And then her daughter works at Disney now. I forget her name, but she is the cameo of who comes in at the end, the blonde woman.
I just found on the trivia section the Gonzo and Rizzo stuff, if you want to hear it, on the IMDb page. So
Oh,
basically, this is the first time that Gonzo is with a new partner, Pepe the Prawn, because the character of Rizzo the Rat was retired in 2018 after his only performer, Stephen Whitmire, was fired by the Henson family and amid controversy, as Whitmer has also voiced Kermit the Frog ever since Muppet creator Jim Henson's death in 1990. While characters like Rizzo were reduced or retired, the iconic part of Kermit the Frog was given to Matt Vogel, a longtime puppeteer. Rizzo does have a brief silent appearance dressed as a poker dealer. Many viewers mistook a rat character credited as Ballroom Rat and portrayed by puppeteer Bruce Lanoyle for Rizzo because the two have similar voices.
oh yeah, the
So
ball hat
I
rat.
don't know the controversy, but apparently Rizzo's retired, which I feel like they could bring Rizzo back with a different actor.
Just do another voice. Yeah,
And
I
Matt
mean,
Vogel, was also one of the puppeteers for the Crack Scooby Doo puppet project that I watched this week.
They're all connected together.
Yes.
Also, long canceled show, one season, but they did do like a Jim Henson's puppet show. I forget what it was called, so that's why I'm
The
butchering
reality
it.
show Who Wants to Be the
It
Next
was
Puppeteer?
Yeah, it basically was. It was, and they made puppets and they performed, and it was incredible. And it was a one and done show, and it's a bummer because it was a there were so many really cool puppets and concepts that they did to make the show that it was like I want to I wish this was coming to life longer. I really love puppetry. I think it's fascinating, and I think like the Muppets are such innovators in what they do, and even like when we see the puppet that is like all bones, and you're just like, where? There's no strings to this. You can't have a hand in it because it's clear, like, and you kind of still have that like mystifying look. And the only thing I would say in this one that I was kind of like, I wish that they were practical, but I'm sure they ended up CGIing, which is like when we get to the ballroom and all the Muppets are kind of floating and stuff,
Hmm.
that it probably is CG due to like the translucence of it. But I really wish it was practical. And if I found out it was practical and they did a little extra, I would be like, oh,
Yeah. Shout out to Frank
10 out of
Oz,
10.
recent Disney Star Award winner or
Disney
whatever.
legend.
Yes, him and Miley Cyrus, same class.
Synonymous.
Yes. Um, Yeah, so I sent you the Wikipedia page for Studio DC, and also the clip of Ashley Tisdale doing "Bop to the Top" with Kermit
I
and
can't wait to see
Miss
that.
Piggy.
Honestly, do
These were
again.
like Disney Channel interstitials that they would like do, like it was basically like a Muppet show or like SNL type thing that they would do
Yeah, that's what they need to do. That's what
with the
ultimately,
Disney
like,
Channel.
just do bits with the Muppets that are 5 to 7 minutes long. Like when they have like Sesame Street does some sort of a skit, like how they did like Downton Abbey once, and like Arthur did an episode of Downton. Like have them do these sort of things, pop culture moments. Have like a Muppets Game of Thrones thing now that you're under the Max umbrella. Like we just want to see them do stuff and be relevant and be funny and parody things because that's what they are really good at.
Yeah, they're really good at parodies, and like I feel like I'd much rather watch like a parody film if the Muppets are involved than a parody film if they're not.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just gonna make it and also there's a real, like, silliness of it, and we'll get there, but I'm just thinking about, like, the scene with the bride, that there was
Mhm.
a part and it's just what makes Muppet stuff so good is how, like, it's so serious, but there's something so goofy about it when you, like, really think on it or see it.
I think it's the Muppets are fantastic, and so we got Will Arnett, the host, who says that Gonzo has to survive the mansion and he has to face his fears in room 999. So then Gonzo and Pepe start splitting off after we do the Be Our Guest segment, which is like you could hear like the notes that like were interloping Be Our Guest, which was so fun. What was the name of the song?
I don't
Um,
remember. I'm very bad at remembering the names of the songs in this, which is bad because I remember when this came out, I did, like, listen to it a ton on Spotify.
yes. Oh. They also play a lot of Dancing in the Moonlight through
A
this.
lot of it. My friend's wedding song is "Dancing in the Moonlight," and I think that this weekend I should play the Muppet version
I love it.
and see how they
Uh,
react.
so the songs were "Rest in Peace," "Life Hereafter," and "Tie the Knot Tango." So this was "Life Hereafter," which was "Be Our Guest," basically.
It
Uh,
seems like there's more music than there is, and it's funny now that we're
yeah.
talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, there's three
Well, because they
songs,
also
and then
play
"Dancing
"Dancing
in
in the
the Moonlight."
Moonlight" at the start and finish of it. So
Yeah, it's a lot of "Dancing in the Moonlight," which I love that song.
banger.
My favorite story that I like to tell about that song is there was in like I don't remember when it went. There was a mini series on like NBC back in the day called The 70s, and it was the sequel to the 60s because the 60s was like super popular. It was great. They do the 70s, and this is my favorite scene. I talk about all the time. I literally still own the DVD just because I need to make sure that this media stays intact because it's nowhere. And it's a scene where Amy Smart is in the movie and she's dating this guy who looks like Christian Bale. He was on the show One Life to Live, this guy. And he's a music producer and he's producing this group. And they are singing a song, and the lyrics that they're singing are like singing in the moonlight, and they're singing the song. And Amy Smart is just laying there and she's just like, I wish I were dancing with you in the moonlight. And then he leans over, presses the button, and goes, guys, next tape, we're going to say dancing in the moonlight. And then they sing the song, and then it's like, oh, what a hit. And I think it's the funniest scene ever filmed in history, and no one knows of it because,
You have to send that to me. I want to watch it.
yeah, I need to figure out how because, again, it's
It's not
like,
on YouTube. Not even the scene.
I don't even know if it is. I'll see if I can find it, but it is so funny. Like, because that was the whole thing of like the 60s and the 70s was they
Mhm.
did that. Honestly, you know what? Remake the 70s
With the
with the
Muppets.
Muppets.
So Gonzo is led astray. Pepe meets and becomes entranced by the ghost of Constance Hatchaway, which is played by the amazing Taraji P. Henson.
Put her in the ride.
Yes,
It
I
would
love her.
improve that scene. The bride scene is technologically probably the worst part of the ride now.
Have you ever
It's
played
really
the
bad.
Disney's Haunted Mansion Clue?
No.
That's the clue that my family and I grew up playing. So instead of like someone got murdered in a room, it's Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, Minnie, Daisy. One of them got haunted by one of the ghosts in
I
the
like
room of
that.
the haunted mansion. So it's like the bride, the opera singer, the mariner, the skeleton, the prisoner, and the traveler. I think are that's six. Yeah, I think that's
I think
six.
so.
Okay. Yeah, so those are the six ghosts that are, and then
I
it's
want
the
to play
six
that
main.
version.
Yeah, I mean, I have it at home. When I go back to Boston, we'll have a game night. Yes. Or do I have it here? No, I think it's still at home. Okay, cool. That would be one of the few games that would ship over to California.
I really do like Taraji as the bride. I think she's really funny. I
I
do think
love.
that this goes on a little long.
Yeah, that's
This
the
is
thing.
where I feel like, and this is where I've caught myself that I've watched this a few times, and this is where I typically grab my phone. Where I'm
This is
like,
where
okay,
I grabbed the fried Oreos.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, let me. This is where I start to scroll through my phone a
yeah.
little. And I
We
think
didn't
it's
even
really
talk
good. I
about.
just think it gets a little. It goes just a little too
Yeah,
long.
if they
It's very
shaved like
funny, and it
5
just
minutes
keeps
off
going.
of the whole movie, I think it would be a little like keep it a little tighter.
Yeah,
That would be
it's
sure.
it's a fun like break to have them split up in that way because it's meant to be that Gonzo has this whole addressing his like loneliness alone. And it's very funny, Pepe, but it just kind of keeps going, and it's the same
Mhm.
like because we know where it's going. But I think it's really funny, and this is the part where I laugh because all of the old ghosts of the bride. So the bride is known in the ride that she had like cut off or killed all of her old husbands, and all the like Muppet ghost versions come out and pop out. And when they show the portraits of her, like in her wedding gown, like married to a Muppet and usually like cradling them in their arms, it's so
Yeah.
silly and it makes me laugh so hard. I just think it's so funny.
I think it's hilarious. And we also forgot to mention when Pepe goes and sees John Stamos, and he is
Yeah, Juan
Steven
Stamos.
Juan Stamos. Yes.
He also calls he names like a lot of celebrities and he gets their names wrong. And I think it's like he calls it like Bard Pritt or something
Yeah.
instead of
Well, I
Brad
love,
Pitt.
John Stamos got the call, and he's like, absolutely 100% because he
Absolutely.
loves Disney. He loves Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank God, because if he just went, he wasn't there. I thought that was a really funny scene. And then it turns out he's because at first it was like, why is John Stamos there? And it's not John Stamos. It's a
Juan Stamos.
ghost.
Um, and so then also I love that she's like, yo hablo español, mi gumbo.
That's such a good running joke
Yeah.
of the do you speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Because Will Arnett does it in the beginning
Well,
too.
yeah, and Pepe's I believe Pepe's Toto in the Wizard of Oz one, and it's so funny.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Pepe is, yeah, he's really grown on me over time. I don't think I necessarily need a like a stuffed Pepe by any means, but I do
Pepe's
appreciate
one of
him.
my favorites, but it's also maybe the Latino representation.
Yeah,
Even though he's
same.
from Malaga, he's not even from Latin America. He's from Spain.
We we love him.
Yeah.
He's a jumbo he gets very excited because she keeps calling him jumbo because he's a king prawn.
Yeah. Um,
He just
and
wants
then
to be recognized for being he's a little short king and he just wants to be known as a jumbo king.
we get the upside down 666 for 999. And Gonzo's older version starts taunting him. His reflection starts taunting him. He can see Kermit through the mirror, and he is afraid of something that nobody will not like him if he does dangerous stunts. Now, do you know what the 3 clips that they pulled for him were? Like,
Oh, I didn't like know specific things, but yes, Gonzo is quite the daredevil. The great Gonzo. I know in the great which one in Muppets Take Manhattan when the Muppets they have a breakup and they all split apart. He's doing stunts and I remember he gets like shot over the water or something. So I can't remember all the exact ones, but Gonzo was a quite the daredevil
mhm.
and I never thought the fact that like he felt the need to do these things for attention so that they would love him. But it actually all really made sense once I see it.
Yeah.
He's silly.
And Gonzo realizes he's afraid that he would be loved if he doesn't do them. And he remembers Will Arnett's advice of facing his fears by being the key to escaping the room after he fears that he'll be trapped there forever. And as the time is ticking, Gonzo realizes he is afraid of never seeing his friends again. And the room de-ages him and releases him. And he's free. He's been freed. And we see Will Arnett congratulate Gonzo for facing his fears, tells him that he is free, so long as he makes it out by sunrise. And sun is rising, but Pepe's still there and in trouble. And Gonzo's like, I gotta leave. And the host Candelabra helps Gonzo find Pepe, stop the wedding. The pair jump out the window and make it out of the mansion as the sun rises. I love the ghost hecklers of the wedding as well. And
Oh, so good. Statler and Waldorf are used really well, and having them in the Doom buggy instead of sitting in a balcony is such a stroke of genius. And we did not discuss Fozzie as Hatbox Ghost, and Fozzie with teeth is deranged. He is so scary. And I started to think to myself, like, has Fozzie always had teeth and I've just never noticed? Like, he was so spooky with teeth. Muppets should not have teeth. It is weird.
Except for the Dr. Teeth.
Except for Dr. Teeth. He can have teeth. Everybody else, for the most part, no teeth. It reminded me of, in Kung Fu Panda, I got weirded out because I was just like, why do they all have human teeth? Because they're animals. But those teeth, whatever teeth that they chose to make for Hatbox Ghost, like, they weren't because Dr. Teeth has beautiful flat teeth, like a drawing. Fozzie's teeth were like all molars, like lumpy They were so creepy. It was creepier than the real Hatbox Ghost. Put that in the ride.
Yeah, no, because then I'll get nightmares.
I know.
Yeah.
Here's a question, because like they do Haunted Mansion overlay of Nightmare Before Christmas. I've never seen it.
I did it one time when I went in November, and it was still
I feel like I need to see it. I don't really.
Well, because they do it
that
until
much.
Christmas, I think.
It's too and past. It's actually too long. I find it annoying. But would you want to see a Muppets
Nightmare
Haunted
Before
Mansion
Christmas?
overlay, or is it like, no, keep it at what it is and it's fun?
No, I'd like, I mean, try new stuff. Why not?
I'd love to see it like once. I think
Yeah.
to do it I think they should have done it when this happened. I think when this
Yeah.
initially came out, they should have done more
Well,
there.
now I want to see a Muppets Night Before Christmas.
I want to see them everywhere.
Yeah.
I want them in the parks constantly. I want to see every ride. Just shove a Muppet there. I want to see their
Like a
version of it,
secret
even if
Muppet,
it's
the new
quick.
hidden Mickey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want puppets everywhere. I do think, actually, now that we did bring up the idea of it, that having an experience where you could see the Muppets perform it, sort of like how they do, Turtle Time with Crush, and it's on the big screen,
Yeah.
and it's really fun. I think like being able to do a story time or meet and greet with a Muppet, and maybe you swap out who it is. Maybe it's not always the same one. Like, maybe it's Kermit, maybe it's Piggy, whatever. However, whoever you can
Or
get
they
to
tell you
impersonate
these
them.
Disney stories.
Yeah, like something. I think there's something really valuable that, like
do you remember
I've
when
always said,
they did those Olaf shorts?
yeah, and I remember they had one of my favorite animatronics they ever had at Disney was when they just had the sleeping Olaf on top of like a building in Disneyland. I was like, this is so creative. And my favorite thing at Universal Studios of everything is just the raptor experience. I think it's like so cool, where you just like, it's a giant raptor human puppet or whatever. I would just rather go to Disney and get my picture taken with Kermit and be able to banter with Kermit for like a minute than like any ride or attraction. I think that's the value of it, is their humor. And
I'm with you.
We should do it.
I think so too. And then we have, finally, they make it out alive. Will Arnett meets him at the gate. He's like, I'm the great MacGuffin who is impressed with Gonzo. And
we should have known. We should have known the MacGuffin name.
We also got to meet Pee-wee, the red herring.
That was so funny.
That fish cracked me up
the first time.
Yeah, I forgot about the fish. I was like, he's so funny. Like, make the Pee-wee the fish a recurring character on the Muppets.
It'd be really funny if he shows up, or if he was like one of the because what is it? Lou, or one of the Muppets does like carry fish or throws fish. I can't remember which one it is. I think he's at the party. One of those freaks.
I think it's
the
hilarious.
guy. He's kind of dressed like a clown. I don't remember. I don't know his name. There's so many. Yeah, you know which one I mean though.
New Zealand
mustache. Is it New Zealand?
Yeah.
Or is it the bomb one?
It says it's. Yeah, I think.
Did
it's
I get
New
New Zealand and the one who always likes to explode stuff confused? Because they kind of look alike. They both have like very. Well, actually, they have.
Is Scooter the one who explodes stuff? No.
No. Sorry, guys, we're failing you. From afar. Apologies.
Where's Jimmy?
I know he would kill me right now. He'd be like, Melissa, what are you doing? Get your Muppets together.
Yes. And then Yvette Nicole Brown's like, oh, you survived. Picks them up. Kermit FaceTimes them and asks the pair to meet him and the other Muppets for breakfast, and tells them they should bring their friends along. And then the hitchhiking ghosts are behind them. And then we get the credits where they sing "Dancing in the Moonlight," all the ghosts and
I
celebrities.
watched the whole thing.
Same. And then at the end, Sattler and Waldorf come up and said, "Oh, this movie was like, how was that?" And he's like, I mean, or he saw his ghost from his past, and he was, or his life flashed before his eyes. That's what it was. Sattler was like, "Yeah, my life flashed before my eyes," and then Waldorf was like, "How was that?" He's like, "Better than this movie."
They were so funny. I was thinking of what fun it was to write jokes for them with like a different angle of like not
Yeah.
only just hating them, but like, oh, to tie it to the movie or tie it to the ride and that kind of concept. And one thing we forgot to bring up too is with that Doom buggy thing is they had a really good point where they reference the fact that the ride stops constantly to let people on and off, like if it's taking too much time or
Yeah.
whatever. And so they have this whole thing where it's like, please stay in your vehicle. And I thought that was a really good touch too. They just
Yeah.
really, like you said, it was clearly fans of this ride had an idea and brought it to life in such immense detail in every way that it just was like the perfect love song for Parks fans and Muppet fans. And obviously the Venn diagram of us who overlap, it was like perfect. It was magical.
It was incredible. Yeah.
I would watch this again, as I have, much more than I would watch probably some of the longer things or some of the other shows that were like a little more modern. This just really, it has like a really sweetness and sentimentality, and I think it really hits the classic Muppets humor while also tying it to some other intellectual property.
I think you summed it up perfectly. Now, is there anything else you want to say about this movie? Like, how would you rate it? 5 stars?
5 stars. I
Yeah,
love it.
love
If
that.
if I were to knock it down, it's just a couple minutes shorter.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
Kermit's voice, a work in progress, but he's barely in it.
yeah.
As we discussed, there's a lot of drama around Kermit's voice
Hmm.
and all the voices. So,
Um,
but here's my question, I guess. If you could choose one Disney parks ride that would get muppified for like a new movie, so like we do something like this again, what ride would you choose?
I feel like the original Splash Mountain would be very fun because they would make jokes about that. Uh, I feel like that was the first thing that came to mind. Hmm. Give me a minute. I'm running through. I feel like Mission Space would be fun. I mean, there's of course the Muppets in space,
Oh,
but
true. That would actually make me
Soaring
like
Around the
that ride
World,
too.
Amazing Race with the Muppets.
Ooh. A soaring around the world, if you had to like do like Muppet stuff, would be fun because I don't know if you ever saw, there was like a chipmunk Alvin and the Chipmunks movie where they like went around the world.
Like the
It
live
was
action or the original cartoons?
original cartoons.
Okay.
They went around the world, and I need to rewatch it. Essentially, they were using these children chipmunks to smuggle diamonds and money around the world. And there was a weird thing with, yeah, I don't even know how to put into words with it without like, I feel like you could get canceled talking about it because it's such a bizarre thing. But I really enjoyed it. Great music. Um, but I could see that like the Muppets going around the world, like a around the world in 80 days sort of thing.
Yes, I love it.
I joke because I love Carousel Progress.
Yes, I love the
That I would
carousel
love to
program.
see
If
like
they ever
and
get rid of that, I'm gonna cry.
don't even put it out there. I could
It's a
say,
great,
like
big,
especially
beautiful
Kermit
tomorrow.
being like the John in each of
Yeah.
the like the decades. I think like we obviously have seen Jungle Cruise now, so like it's there. I think like if you did even just as like a short, a Muppet Tiki Room would be very fun
Could
because
you
I
do
think
the
there's a
Great
lot
Movie
of
Ride
opportunity.
also? Muppet Great Movie Ride?
In hindsight,
I mean, they
imagine
can
if
still
they did.
do it even if it's not existing
Still
anymore.
could, but wouldn't actually in hindsight, imagine if they did reskin that ride and it was like or like the Great Muppet Movie Ride. So it is like maybe it's not those, but it is just like all the stuff that builds up to it for all their old movies over time. That would be great.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I love this idea. We need to continue it. Get it trending. Anything else you want to add about the Muppets Haunted Mansion? I do want to mention that the mansion apparently was 924, which is the birth date of Jim Henson.
oh,
And Brian Henson returns as Salmonella, a character he created for Muppets Tonight, and hadn't performed since the Muppets Wizard of Oz, so he could focus on the business side. But he returned for that. And this is Danny Trejo's fourth Muppet time after his deleted scene in the Muppets, his more prominent role in Muppets Most Wanted, and his short-lived series Muppets Now in a cooking segment with the Swedish Chef. And he's
oh,
been a prisoner every single time, which feels
he's so
Latinophobic.
good.
Yeah.
He's just so like but he is like a perfect like character actor to have in these that you just
Yeah.
see it and you're like, oh yeah, Like we got to have Danny Trejo, and you can tell he has fun with it, and that's what you always want. Like he just has a good time whenever you see him in things. Like
Yeah, when he
he
got to
just
be the
gives
head
people
in the
the best.
turtle in
Oh
Breaking
my
Bad.
gosh! Actually, you know what? I don't think I saw that. I didn't see Breaking Bad.
Oh, spoilers.
I never got in the right heart. No, well, I won't remember.
Okay.
I never got in the right
Are you
headspace
gonna
to watch
watch it
that
or do you
show.
not care?
I feel like at this point I don't care because
Okay,
it's
so
been
there's
so
they put basically
long.
put his head like he's killed and they put his
Yeah.
head on a turtle, so they call him Tortuga because his name is
Oh,
Tortuga. So they put his head on a turtle and like staple it onto the turtle's back or whatever.
how how big's the turtle? Is it like a tortoise? Like a
It's like a
big?
tortoise, yeah.
Okay, that
Like so,
well.
and the turtle is walking around. We see the turtle walking around with the head.
Wow. I do kind of want to see that. I will tell you that of all the of all the
That,
years, like this is an Emmy winning show, Emmy nominated, whatever. That to me is the most compelling thing to make me want to watch that show. So that's I don't know what that says about me. But that to me is more interesting than the idea of like the drugs part of like
yeah,
making
Better
teaching
Call
people
Saul's
drugs is
better in my
fun.
opinion, but
That's the
they're
thing is I
both
know
great.
if I open the door, it also like I have to do all of it. But yeah, I just never been in the headspace. It's same with like 6 feet under. I started it and then it got like one episode was too dark for me and I never went back. I got
Yeah,
very far, but I was just like I hit one episode and I was like, I'm good.
yeah,
But I would say if you haven't watched Muppets Haunted Mansion, if you listen to this, one, sorry for spoiling everything, but two, you to watch it and to share it and have others watch it, especially if you're a theme park person and maybe you're not a Muppet person. I think you could watch this and really appreciate it for just the ride you love and like a new dimension to it and vice versa. Maybe it gets you into the theme park side of it if you aren't. But I think it's a fun Halloween thing to watch. It's short, which is a major selling point because
yeah.
we live busy
Put
lives.
this
The
on
music
your
is
break
fun.
room at work.
Yeah, I just feel like you could put it on in the background and it's on and you can catch it. But I mean, do I think you should focus on it? Of course.
Yeah.
Turn off your
Um.
phone so you don't accidentally grab it during the bride scene. But it's not
um.
because I really like it's so good. It's just that it happens to be that you're kind of near the end of it and we all have a problem with our phones. We're all very addicted.
Okay.
So
Okay. Mel, where can the people keep up with you and everything you're doing? Anything Halloweeny that you want to promote? Any fun Halloween plans you're doing?
wow. Well, I am a huge Halloween girly, so I really need and it's as we're saying, it's August 30th, which means I gotta get my shit together and start really thinking of like what will be my costume this year because I haven't had a lightning
Ray gun.
rod moment. Yeah. So I'm not sure yet,
Ray gun.
but I love Halloween. You know what? I think there's gonna be too many of them. Too
Okay.
many ray guns. I need something that is uniquely me and then knowing me though I will say the biggest selling point for her is most of my costumes do involve me just wearing like a sweatsuit a tracksuit of some sort so it is an option but I feel like we're going to see a lot of breakdance battles this year for Halloween that I would say that should be the top costume of the
I
year
think I want to be the French pole.
that I did say the two costumes of the year will be those two. I think French pole vault are a great costume. So I need to think what will be mine. But you can follow me at Mel Got Served on all social platforms where hopefully you will see my Halloween costume and something for me to really serve and deliver Halloween looks. And if you have ideas for me before, you can always bounce them by me because I always am taking ideas. And then yeah, that's it. Nothing too
Yes, we
exciting
love
besides that.
that.
Just it'll be me prepping a Halloween costume for a month and a half because that's what you need to do to start amassing it.
I love it. In terms of me, stay tuned with everything we're doing here on Brazilian Dragontober. You can follow me on all social media at What the Fleep, and then also go support the Brazilian Dragon socials, Instagram especially. That's where I do most of the promotion. Go like and subscribe on YouTube. Go rate and review Apple Podcasts. It helps people discover the podcast. 5 stars only. Just kidding. Whatever you feel, but also 5 stars only.
5 stars
Go
only.
tell a friend. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Overcast, whatever all podcast platforms. And if you're looking to financially support the podcast, if you like what I'm doing, you want to help me execute the vision the best of my abilities, you can do so at patreon.com/Brazilian Dragon Productions. Otherwise, in terms of me, go check out What the Fleep. You'll see me probably tweeting about nonsense like Big Brother, Survivor, Paralympics. Well, probably not anymore because when this comes out,
Yeah,
it's
the time's
Halloween. But
passed. We'll be getting ready for spooky season.
yes,
Survivor will be on.
yes, it will be Survivor
I don't know what
season.
else is on in the fall.
Yeah, Big Brother will probably still be on at that point.
Oh, I'm gonna plug because I'm probably gonna watch this because it looks stupid. Let's plug Doctor Odyssey. That show looks
What is
terrible. I
it?
can't wait. It's Joshua Jackson playing a cruise ship doctor. Um, I don't really know. I'm in. I don't know why. I just find it so. I've seen the commercial so many times
I
that
think
I'm
it's
like, I feel like
hilarious.
I'm gonna. Should I start the one and only Doctor Odyssey podcast?
I think you should. I think that's genius. Oh, it's written by Ryan Murphy.
Oh, it's gonna be a disaster then.
Yeah, Philippa Sue's in it. Oh, she could do better.
I can't decide if it's gonna be terrible or not, which is why I think we should all watch it.
I also will be watching The Penguin when it comes out for HBO Max, the Colin Farrell Penguin
Is it a
show.
movie?
It's a mini series.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's some other shows coming out that look interesting. I think I'm looking this year. My goal is to pick up some like kind of like weekly kind of shows that are like not too intense. Like the one I don't know what it's called, but there's one with like Sweet D from Always Sunny. The great Caitlin Olsen has some new show. I want to pick up like a scripted
You want your next
dramedy.
Gossip Girl,
Yeah,
but
I
of the
need
modern
something.
era.
I
Oh,
need
I
something
finally got back
to
into my
drop.
Gossip Girl binge, and the fact that Bart's
Love it.
alive. What the fuck?
Can I throwing this out there? And I know I've said this a lot today. Muppets Gossip Girl.
Muppets Gossip Girl. I need Blair Waldorf and Miss Piggy to interact.
But we are we're gonna need to rewrite Chuck Bass because I don't want any Muppet to be an assaulter like that.
Yeah, no, we don't want Chuck Bass in this version.
But you know who, if I had to say a Muppet that would be the Chuck Bass, it's Pepe. Unfortunately, he's the Lothario. He's the Lothario.
Rizzo could also be a Chuck Bass. I feel like.
Dan
No.
Humphrey is Kermit, right?
Um,
I think it has to be.
I could see Kermit as Nate potentially, just because I feel like Fozzie's the comedian, which is the writer. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
uh,
true.
okay, who would be Serena?
Piggy.
Janice? No, Piggy. Piggy's
Because
not Blair.
no, I think that technically she's Serena because the show starts that it is Serena's show,
Yeah,
and it's more that I think that
and that's kind of also
the
why I would want Kermit to be Nate.
yeah, I think then because there's not really a lot of horribly not a lot of female Muppets, so I guess Janice by default is Blair, but isn't really the right fit. So I'm not sure.
Animal could be Blair.
Honestly, that would be funnier.
Who's Dorota?
Doctor
That's
Teeth is Blair. Dorota is
Beaker.
Sweetums.
Okay,
Sweetums. Blair.
and then Beaker can be Rufus. No, Beaker deserves better. But now I like Rufus more than Lily era. So we're like
Oh, it's
the
weird.
pendulum
That's
swung.
weird. Yeah.
Well, no,
Beaker.
because Lily was pissing me off because I'm almost done with season 5 now. So like everything with Ivy and that stuff, I'm like
Oh, yeah.
Rufus like sucks as a parent because he was a horrible father to Jenny. But like now that he's just kind of like a background character, and he's like, I feel like Lily's like in the wrong for a lot of this stuff. I don't know.
They all turn terrible. All the adults turn terrible. And that's
They're all
why
except for Blair's mom.
we need to be treading, if we are going to do Muppet One, we have to really be cautious of which Muppets we cast so that we don't
And we
hate them,
cannot
you
let the
know?
Sesame Street characters involved in this. Like, we cannot get Abby Cadabby as one of the characters just for more women
No, but
in
you
this.
know what?
Jenny,
No, yeah. And I was just thinking, like, there are a lot of good, like, female Sesame Street characters that could be like the
like
Blair role.
Zoe,
Yeah, like Zoe. There's Rosita,
Julia.
Julia. Also, just like you could bring the humans in. Because you know
Yeah.
what? Like, I would say if we're going to bring in like a Muppet human, or
You know
like
who
a
could be
Sesame
Chuck?
Street
This is
human, it's Maria. Maria gets to be Lily. Maria,
Lily.
I
Oh,
hold a
the
very
humans
strong
can be
spot
the
for Maria.
adults.
Maria and Gordon are my two favorite Sesame Street adults. They hold the most in my heart. And Bob, rest in
Yeah,
peace. But Maria and Gordon to me stick out the most, especially Maria.
uh, yeah, no. I think the humans could be adults.
Yes, the humans can be the adults. That's allowed. All the young ones can be Muppets, but the adults are all the humans. I like that idea of it. That helps too because then they are like some of the more sinister people.
Mhm.
So to not put them into Muppets, um, but there is like who could if we were gonna cast though like a Muppet to
Well,
be a
we
bad
need
guy. Could the Count? I think the Count if we're doing the crossover that maybe the Count as Bart Bass.
well, I was gonna say Wallace Shawn has to return regardless. Like he could be the
Yeah,
live action
he's
version.
himself. He's still
Yeah.
himself. He is still the
Um.
same character. We don't recast him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Now I want to go like do Muppets as like all these different
Actually,
shows.
something I have, but I never went fully through with it. It is in my drafts. Was Grover as different Gossip Girl characters because like Grover has so many jobs and so many costumes, And so I started to work on that, but I never published it. I think I didn't have enough or whatever. But I'll probably send it to you because
Please do.
especially
No,
as
I
Instagram.
love the Mel Got Served notes app documents.
There's one thing I love is to take deranged notes throughout a movie of some or show or whatever I'm doing, be it a timeline, clues, or just taking really absurd thoughts when I watch a movie. Make Muppets Planet of the Apes. That's my next one.
Love it. And then we could do all these, like, we should just do like a Muppets casting podcast.
Yes,
Like,
that's all it is.
yeah.
That's just
Um,
that one where we just say names of movies, and that's we just want to say with Muppets, just like those Twitter threads. And I feel like we would all enjoy it because we'd all think about it.
yeah. Honestly, you should start that podcast. Like every episode, you do like a Muppets and it's like 20 minutes every week, a
Just me
bite-sized
riffing about
podcast.
Muppets. I'm just gonna
Yes.
go on like Instagram Live, just talking
Yes, I'm here for
about
it.
various plots of Muppet things.
I love it. All about Muppets. Do you follow the Muppet, like the Muppet account on Twitter that I
Oh
like?
yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
they're very good. I feel like they've been quiet, or they're just not showing up in my algorithm, which isn't a good sign. But
yeah,
maybe now that we're talking about it, and if I just go look it up after this, I'll get a bunch.
love it.
Hopefully.
Awesome. Well, any hashtags? Muppets Gossip Girl?
Yeah. Hashtag Muppets Gossip Girl.
Yes. Okay. With that said, go follow us on social and obrigadero for listening. Bye, everyone.